Hello guys, for this project you'll be needing yellow and mulberry acrylic yarn, measuring tape, scissors, needle and 5mm crochet hook. We'll start off by casting a slip knot. You don't have to double your yarn, I always do when I'm making a bag, but you don't have to. Using your 5mm crochet hook, you need to cast on 45 chains. In the 4th chain, you'll need to put 1 double crochet, and continue putting 1 double crochet in each chain until you get to the last chain. In the last chain, you need to put 5 double crochets. Those 5 increased chains will be making the round for the base of the bag. You will continue this row by putting 1 double crochet in every remaining stitch until you get to the last chain. In the last chain, you need to put 5 double crochets in the same chain. Just like you did in the previous corner. And now you will be slip stitching in that chain free that we made in the starting. We'll be slip stitching in the top of that chain. This is what your work should look like. For rows 2 and 3, we'll start off by making 3 double crochets and putting 1 double crochet in that same stitch. Remember for this whole project that the chain free at the beginning doesn't count as a chain. Then we'll be putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get to the end. I went along and did my 2nd and 3rd row off camera. Now we're at the end of our 3rd row. We will be slip stitching in the top of the chain 3 to complete our base. This is our base. For rows 4, 5 and 6 we will chain 3 and then put 1 double crochet in that same chain, and then 1 double crochet in every stitch until we come back to the end. At the end of the 3rd round, I'm just finishing up my last stitch for that round. We will not be slip stitching with the color that we're using. We'll be changing to yellow in that row. So in other words, you slip stitch with the yellow yarn so you get a neater finish. Chain 3, you can tie off your yarn at the back of it, or you can leave it loose and weave it at the end of the project. You continue making your chain 3. And then you're going to be putting 1 double crochet in that same stitch and continue putting 1 double crochet in each stitch all around until you come back to the end of the row. We'll be doing that for 2 rows. At the beginning of row 9, which is the ending of row 8, we'll be slip stitching again, this time with the mulberry yarn. Just securing those ends. Chain 3, put 1 double crochet back into that same chain, then 1 double crochet in every chain right around for 1 row. At the end of that row, just finishing up my last chain of that row. Before we do our slip stitch, we will be mixing the yellow and the purple yarn together. Chain 3, put 1 double crochet back into that same stitch, and we're going to continue putting 1 double crochet right round until we have 3 rows. At the end of the 3rd row, we'll be slip stitching with the mulberry yarn, chain 3, and make 1 row. You can see the bag is already taking shape. and the pattern is coming out beautifully. Put one double crochet back into that same chain and one double crochet all around until you get to the end of that row. And just finishing off that row. We will slip stitch at the top of our chain 3. We'll be slip stitching with the yellow yarn. Chain 3 and follow the pattern for 15 more rows. I'll be putting the pattern in the description below if you want to follow from there. We'll be putting one double crochet in the same stitch and one in every stitch right round until we get to the end of the 15th row. I am now at the 15th row. I'm just slip stitching. We have a total of 27 rows including the base. This is the base. You can go ahead and weave in all those ends. Now we'll be making the handle using the Mulberry yarn. We will need to cast on 69 chains. We will be counting one chain and put one double crochet into that same chain. And then continue putting one double crochet in every chain until we get to the end. When we get to the last chain, you need to put 3 double crochets to make the round part of the handle, and continue putting double crochets in every stitch. At the end of the second row, I did my 2 rows off camera. I will slip stitch and cut my yarn. This is what your work should look like. My handle measures 54 centimeters, or about 21 inches. So to make the handle, we'll be closing the 2 edges together and sew them. Make sure you leave 2 inches from the round end before you start sewing. I continue to sew mine off camera. This is what it should look like. Next, I went along and found the center of my bag so I could have a better understanding of where I'm going to be placing my handles. My bag measures 20 inches across, right round 40. Now I will be sewing the handles just a little above where I put my stitch marker. So you have to sew the handles and go right round the circle. That way that the handle is secure to the bag. This is what the bag looks like. I went along, I created another handle and I sewed both of them on. You can either use your bag like that or you can stick around and see what I did to mine. Just making sure everything is secure. I went along and also added a base. I covered it with purple linen cloth. I also added a magnetic snap and I went along and lined inside of my bag. Next, you're going to make a slip knot and find the center chain in the middle of the handle of your bag, and then you're going to be putting single crochets right around the bag. So you can put your single crochets right round, or what I went along and did was squeeze the two sides, the corners of the bag, and put a stitch marker and join them together with one double crochet. I know the stitch marker is getting in my way. And then we're going to continue doing that until we get to the other side. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And I'll continue to the end of the bag up to where we began with the single crochets. Now I'm at the end of my round. I'll be putting in my last single crochet and then slip stitch into the top of that first slip knot that you made. It's going to be a little difficult because it's not as spaced out as a double crochet. We're gonna cut off our excess yarn. I use my yarn needle to weave in the extra piece of yarn. You can use any needle, it doesn't have to be a yarn needle. This is it. The bag is complete. I went along and added a flower. I know I didn't show you guys how I created the flower. I just thought of something along with the videos that I've seen before on how to make a flower. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.